SwayamPrabha. Digital India. Educated India.
So, friends, in this course on production and operations management, we are talking about inventory management, and after discussing the importance of inventory management and various inventory models, now we are discussing about classification of inventory. And in the previous session, we talked about one important classification, which is called ABC classification. In ABC classification, on x axis we take the items, on y axis we take their importance or dollar value, and then we divide them into three categories. Very few number of items, but contributing 80% of value, we call them A class item, then B class item, and this is a large number of items which has very small contribution here. So, they are called C class items, which is having a very small contribution here, whereas B class items, they are having a slightly more contribution and more in number as compared to C class. Now, we are talking about one more classification, which is called VED classification or VED analysis. As we said, VED stands for vital, essential and desirable. This analysis is very important for inventory management. Vital items are one without which business would come to a standstill. We have to always maintain a decent inventory level of these inventories. For vital item, we have to ensure that there is no shortage of material and it should always be available, because this is one, if it is not there in the stock, the whole process will come to a standstill. There is second category, which is essential items, items having very high stock out cost, but they will not lead to the shutdown of the plant. The cost of stock out is high, but still you can work out without in the absence of that. So, they are the essential item. We should also try that there should not be stock out for these items. Then there is third category of item, which are called desirable item. The item good to have in stock, but may not necessarily affect the business. You should try to keep it in the stock, but if the item is not there, it will not adversely affect the operations or business. Your business can continue to work smoothly. But as I said earlier, if essential item is not there for a certain period of time, it will be converted into a vital item. Similarly, if desirable item is not available for certain period, first it will become essential, then it will also become a vital item. So, we have to keep in mind that there should not be a shortage of essential item or a desirable item for a very long period of time. The classification can be used even for spare parts management. How much spare parts I should keep depending upon the classification of vital and essential and desirable along with ABC classification. We can use this for sales strategies also. If you are dealing with certain markets or customers which are vital for you, you can have different sales strategies for them, whereas for other customers you can have a different sales strategy also. Recently, one of the automobile company, they have developed two different channels of distribution for their cars. One channel for high end cars, another channel for low end cars. So, you can classify your cars or your items or your finished goods into categories based on their demand and other factors, and it can be based on the profit per car available. Based on that you can classify, and you can give more attention to those which are more important to you, more critical to you, and less important to those which are less critical to you. It can be used for marketing strategy, sales strategy, it can be used for people management also. There are few critical persons or in team, you have to see that they should not leave the organization, or like that there should not be certain kind of skills are there, there should not be any shortage of those skills, there are other unskilled persons which you can hire very easily. So, you should put more effort to hire skilled persons which are critical for the job, whereas you can be slightly relaxed in hiring the non critical desirable kind of a human resource in the organization, unskilled persons in the organization. Like in a company, you will find lot of efforts are required to appoint the CMD or chief operating officer of the CEO of the company, as well as the directors and the top level of management. More efforts are required in the recruitment, whereas for unskilled workers which are large in number, less efforts are required in their recruitment. Recruiting this top level management, you require lot of efforts in their requirement, because they are critical to your organization. They are, if they are wrongly selected, they will have a big impact on the performance of the organization. So, like this we can use it for people management, we can use it for recruitment also, we can use in financial management also. There are certain expenses which are you need to have better control on them. There are certain other expenses where you can be slightly relaxed desirable nature. So, you can prioritize your expenditure also, more weightage to the critical expenditure, critical item purchases or expenditure, and less focus on desirable items. Now, very important slide, give your full attention to this. We have done two classification, one is ABC classification, second is VED classification. Now, see that these together, if we see, now we are having 9 categories. We are having 9 categories, V class item and A one category, first category. Then there is a V class item and B second category, vital and C class item is my third category. Similarly, I am having essential and A class item another category, essential and B class category another item, essential and C class category is another item. Then there is a desirable A item, A class item, desirable essential item, desirable B class item and desirable C class item. So, 9 categories we are having 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 categories of items are there. Now, question arises, which is most important, where I should not have any shortage of the item, where I should give very high service level. Obviously, the cell is C. This is a cell where the item is very important, very vital, very critical, and it is a C class also. The amount required to keep that item in the stock is negligible. It is a C class item. The total annual usage value is very small because of the low unit price or low demand, but if the item is not there, that will make your operations stand still. So, I should have a 99, there should not be any shortage, you should have almost 100% service level for these kind of items. On the other extreme, let us look at this cell. This is an item which is very expensive to keep in the stock. It is a class item, very expensive to keep in the stock, but it is a desirable nature. Even if this item is not available, it has not much impact on the performance of the organization. You can keep on working without any adverse impact. So, I can keep that item equivalent to the average demand. I can keep this item equivalent to average demand without keeping any safety stock or anything. So, I can comfortably keep low level of inventories for A class item which is desirable nature. In between we can talk about that vital item and A class I can keep 95% service level, and let us see this D class item, desirable item and C class. Maybe though I have written here 95%, but you may think of keeping a 99% service level, and for this you may keep because this C class item, keeping that inventory item in the inventory is not costing you anything, it is only peanuts kind of a thing. If you keep this C class item in your stock, it is not costing you anything, but if it is not available, it has some adverse impact. So, we should keep this item in good number we should not permit any shortage for C class items. Okay. So, this is how we can work out and the service level. Like when we said that service level of a particular item is 95% in our previous questions when we talk about inventory models. So, we said that under probabilistic scenario, we said that service level requirement is 95%. So, this is one table which can help you, though it is not having all the factors, it has only 2 important parameters which has been taken, but in real life situation there may be 10 more factors, 10 more parameters which you have to consider. But to begin with, you can perform a ABCVED classification and see broadly that the particular item is falling in this particular, which particular category, whether in category 1, 2, 3 or in 9th category. Based on its category, based on this ABCVED classification category, you can broadly decide that okay, this is going to be the requirement, this is how much shortage I can afford for this particular item. And based on that and maybe then you can superimpose some other factors also, some other subjective consideration, other considerations also. So, very important classification. Similarly, for spare parts also, suppose you are a automobile spare part, automobile repair company, service center, automobile service center or some other service center, you have to see that there are certain spare parts which are very expensive, like door of a car, very expensive, or some other component which are very expensive. You do not want to keep the stock item of that, and it is desirable also. You perform all other repairs etc., and in the meanwhile you can arrange this component which has to be fitted at the end, desirable, it is not in the beginning. On the other hand, there are certain fastener, there are certain component, gears etc., which are C class item or B class item, but which are vital. If that item is not there, you will not be able to deliver the repaired car or after servicing of the car in the evening. So, those items you have to keep it in your stock, they are vital items. So, you have to keep them in your stock. If the item is not there, so that will create a adverse service, you will not able to provide the timely service to your customers. So, you classify the spare parts also as vital spares, essential spares and desirable spares, and then you also take the unit value of those items and decide how much service level I should give, how much based on the service level your safety stock is going to be decided. As we have seen that the value of Z depends upon, in the safety stock calculation, the value of Z depends upon the service level requirement. We have seen that safety stock is equal to Z into sigma, variability into uncertainty into Z, and Z is a, we have read this from the table, normal distribution table. We take this from normal distribution table for the desired service level, for the desired service level. So, in that sense you will find that service level. So, in that sense you will find that this idea, this calculation or this estimation of the service level requirement is very essential. If you are making a wrong assessment of the service level requirement, if you are though the requirement is less and you are planning for a higher service level, your safety stock will increase, your inventory related cost will increase. On the other hand, if you are planning a lower service level, though it is a vital item, then you may suffer losses because of poor service or because of frequent stoppages in your activities. So, in that way it is very important you have a rational service level estimates based on this classification of ABCVED with the further layer of your subjective judgment on this particular numbers. So, that is the importance of ABCVED analysis in our inventory management. Our safety stock calculations depend largely on the service level requirements. Now, let us see some more after this classification of inventory. Let us see some more inventory systems where we are dealing with the, if you see that previous inventory system we were dealing only with one single item. Now, if from a single vendor, from one single vendor you are purchasing 3 items, from a single vendor you are purchasing 3 items, then there are 2 cases. One, you can consider them independently, all 3 items you can calculate the economic order quantity for them, and based on that you can calculate the total cost. Second case is you can have all 3 items coming together in one single consignment, and then you can have less amount coming, or you can have less number of trips also. So, the total ordering cost and inventory cost can be reduced if we can take a joint decision about these 3 items or more than 3 items. Many times for ancillaries etcetera, you are getting more than 20, 30, 40 items also from one single vendor. So, rather than doing the inventory management of them independently, if we can do them their inventory management in a joint manner as a together, if you consider that, we can save a cost both on inventory carrying as well as on the ordering cost, transportation cost also. Take for the sake of convenience a very small example, where we are having 3 items which I am purchasing from a particular vendor. We have kept very small numbers also. The demand of item 1 is 350 units per year, the demand of item 2 is 800 units per year, and demand of the item 3 is 1000 units per year. The cost of carrying inventory is 7 rupees, 4 rupees and 8 rupees, and cost of ordering is rupees 100 per order. Okay. The cost of ordering is rupees 4 per order. Okay. So, this is this column we will use later on. At present we are not using this particular last column. Let us focus on this, this and this. Now, we know that the economic order quantity of item number 1 is given by, now I hope you will be able to remember the formula, 2 into D into C I into C O divided by C I, that is 7. Based on this we will calculate. Similarly, for EOQ of 2 we can calculate, economic order quantity of 3 we can calculate. Okay. So, this is given here. The economic order quantity of item 1 when we are considering them independently. When we are considering them independently, the economic order quantity by the previous formula, we will get 100 units of this, 200 units of this and 300 units of 100 units of economic order quantity. From this, the total cost will be 700, 800 and 2000, and total cost is 3500. If these items are considered independently, the total cost is 3500. On the other hand, if we can consider them together, then the formula will change to 2 into CO divided by sum of all D into CI under the root. So, that is what we calculated there in this table. This sum is 13,650. This sum is 13,650 and 2 into ordering cost is 100 based on that, and and then you have to multiply 2 into CO divided by this. So, that will give you the optimal quantity of this item 1, and based on this we can calculate the total cost also, and we getting, and this total cost turns out to be 8.25. So, this is how, if we combine all this together, you will find the total cost is drastically reduced from 3500 to 1300, and number of orders per year is also reduced drastically if we are combined decision, if we are taking about these items. So, that is the advantage of if the many items are coming from a single vendor. So, rather than managing them independently, we can manage them together also. Take one example also. Suppose there is a company which is located in Gurgaon or in Delhi or some other city, and they are receiving the material from a vendor which is located in Chennai or a far off place, and this vendor is supplying, let us say different items, let us say 10 different items are supplied by this vendor to this factory, this OEM. This is OEM and this is ancillary vendor or ancillary is this supplying. So, one option is we can consider, or not only that, you may have the 3 vendors also or 5 vendors also which are located at a place away from your plant. Let us do that. You are having 3 vendors, vendor 1, 2 and 3, and from them you are purchasing the items. Let us take a case, revise our assumptions. You are having a OEM in Gurgaon and you are having 3 vendors located in Chennai, and each is supplying one item only, and then you are doing independent purchasing from them. Now, there may be a your new person who has appointed, he is suggesting that rather than these 3 vendors are supplying them independently, let these consignment be combined together, and there is one truckload which is coming and bringing the material of all of these 3 together. What are the implications? Implications are your inventory carrying cost at your OEM will reduce. Now, you are having only 1/3 of the inventory, and second advantage is disadvantage may be there may be slightly increase in transportation cost. Number of trips can be same, but slightly increase in the transportation cost, but a substantial saving in the inventory also. So, you can weigh the advantage in reduction of inventory vis-a-vis a small increase in transportation cost, and take a decision whether these 3 vendors material can be brought together at the OEM place, rather than all 3 are sending their independent trucks. So, this kind of thinking we can have rather than treating the item as independently vis-a-vis treating them the items together. Take one more example of a multi-item inventory system, where you are having a constraint of your budget. You are having certain amount available to keep the inventory. You do not have infinite budgets, or there may be a space constraint also in terms of area or in terms of units, especially in warehouse management. There may be a constraint. You may calculate you are keeping, let us say 10 items, and for each item you calculate the economic order quantity and you keep on purchasing them. But you find that you do not have the money available for that, budgets are not available to purchase all the 10 items as per EOQ. This comes out to be, let us say 1300, whereas the budget is only 1000. So, in that case what to do? So, in this second example, we are trying to address this particular issue, where you are keeping multiple entries in your warehouse, multiple items in your warehouse, and you are having there is a constraint, you do not have the money sufficient to keep all the items as per the economic order quantity. Then what to do? So, consider that we are having 3 items, and this is their holding cost, this is their ordering cost, and that is the unit cost, and annual demand of item 1 is 10,000, item 2 is 12,000, item 3 is 7,500. So, we will calculate the optimal order quantity for each of them, and then we say that there is a budget constraint of 1000 only. This can be 1000 can be means with some it can be 10 crores or 5 crores or something, but for the sake of example we are taking a very small number, budget is 1000 only. So, if there is no budget constraint, the economic order quantity for item 1 is 223, 219 and 212, and together you require a budget of, if you for the average inventory you are having a limit and you are having average inventory cost is 1965, but you have a budget of 1000 only. So, what to do in that case? We can apply the Lagrange multiplier. In this case, we can use this particular relationship to find out the optimal quantity, and this k here is called Lagrange multiplier. If I use the value of k, my order quantity will come for different items is this, and my total cost, the average inventory cost turns out to be 1600. If I take the value of k as 5, the total inventory average inventory cost turns out to be 972. So, I can interpolate between them, and I found that with k of 4.7, the total average inventory cost is close to 1000 rupees. So, I should keep a I should place a order of 114 units of item 1, 105 units of item 2 and 116 units of item 3 for the, so that my total budgets are not budget constraint is maintained and you are able to do. If we are doing as a layman, if we do not have the idea I may say that okay, make it half of all the item. Your total cost is coming to be almost double of this, you can make half of this. But if you do that, you will find that is going to be the suboptimal answer, it will not be the optimal answer. Our optimal answer is not half of these numbers, they are different. They are there you are having 223, 219 and 219 and 212. So, they are not coming as a half, they are coming in some other with the help of this formula. So, we are getting the best answer rather than making them half only. So, okay, so this is another model where we are having a constraint of the money, there can be constraint of a space, there can be some other constraints also. So, we can very easily incorporate those constraints in our calculations in our modeling. Now, let us see some other aspects related to inventory management, reactive versus proactive approach. So, proactive approach is why to keep the inventory. Let us find out the factors which are forcing you to keep inventory. It can be high transportation cost, high ordering cost. If you see the formula of optimal order quantity, it is 2DCO by CI. So, CI is my ordering cost, higher the ordering cost, higher is the order quantity. If I am able to reduce this ordering cost, like most of the numerical we were considering 300 rupees as ordering cost. If I am able to reduce this 300 to 25, you will find your economic order quantity reduced drastically, and if you are able to reduce this to 25 to 5 only, you will find that this is drastically reduced. What are the companies doing in this regard? They are keeping their vendors close to the their company, so that they can have the frequent deliveries, maybe 10 times in a shift. Every hour, every 2 hours, the material is coming from the vendor, because the ordering cost is negligible. They place the order for a year, delivery schedules are given on a daily basis or on a weekly basis. So, that way you are finding that you are able to reduce the ordering cost to almost negligible level, and with this there is no need of keeping the your economic order quantity may be 1 unit itself. Can we reduce or eliminate these factors or their impact? So, in the next session we will talk about GIT and lean manufacturing system, that is a proactive approach of addressing the issues which are forcing you to keep the inventory, just like we are keeping the safety stock also. We are keeping the safety stock because of uncertainty in demand. Rather than keeping the safety stock, can I do something to address the uncertainty in lead time, uncertainty in demand with the help of better transportation mechanism, better demand forecast mechanisms, or I can influence the demand itself by some proactive marketing strategies. So, by that I can reduce the requirement of safety stock also. So, these are some of the issues which are addressed in lean manufacturing systems, GIT manufacturing systems. So, we have studied this, just a recap kind of a thing. What can we do if there is high inventory, surplus inventory, difficulty in disposing the items, you are keeping dead stock also, there is no scientific policy of finding economic order quantity, there is a issue of standardization also, the same item is purchased 10 times, 10 different places in the organization under different names. There was one very good article also, in a company a particular item was purchased as 107 different names, but by standardization, by codification, you can, when they started doing the codification, they are found that all these 107 components which they are considering them as independent component, they are rather one component. So, once they find out, they have the one considered as one, and we will find that we will see now after some time what is the impact of standardization on inventory, variety reduction. If we are able to reduce the variety by standardization, we can substantially reduce the inventory of the system. Ineffective power of delegation, if you are not delegating the power, then there may be delays in decision making, or if there are frequent modification in the design of the product, design of the component, you may have large number of obsolete items which you have purchased, which you have procured, but they are not being used. So, they are more like non moving item, dead stock item, or upgradation of technology. So, that make the components obsolete. Inability to predict the consumption pattern also. So, there is a uncertainty if the poor demand forecasting, we can say that if there is a poor demand forecasting, that also leads to high inventory cost. It may lead to high inventories or it may lead to shortages also. Both are related to inventory related cost. Inability to decide on critical and non-critical items. If you are not performing the VED analysis and all the items you are treating them in the same manner. So, that will also increase your inventory. For certain items you are keeping high inventory, for desirable items you are keeping high inventory, or similarly in ABC classification maybe you are keeping very high inventory of A class items. Overbuying of the item may be because of quantity discount or may not be having the idea of about economic order quantity. Few suppliers sending item in more than desired quantity. Sometimes if your bargaining power is poor or supplier is very strong, he may send the item as per his production plan rather than as per your requirements of your production plan. Then there is a improper organization structures also, bureaucracy can be there, or lot of lack of control can be there. So, these are some of the administrative aspects which we can keep in mind before applying the inventory models. I would say that we should first address the administrative issues and these issues, because keeping inventory is always expensive as compared to addressing these issues, and this solution is a lifelong solution. If you are able to solve these issues, the advantage of the cost which will incur to solve these issues has a benefit, has a dividend throughout the life of the organization. So, now let us go forward. So, some of the techniques we are going to study here. Selective inventory control we have studied, now inventory model we have studied. Now, we are talking about standardization, vendor management, lead time management, use of IT, and some more factors we are studying. So, standardization. The benefit of standardization is there is a common platform of communication. If you standardize with the help of codification, then you can very easily procure the items as one item rather than 10 different efforts are made to procure 10 items, the same item as 10 different nomenclatures. If by standardization you can, similarly many times it happens that you are design people are prescribing different types of component for the same purpose, different specifications for the same purpose, but if they standardize there, that will help in procurement as well as in manufacturing. If you are having interchangeability of the items, sub-assemblies, etc., that will also help in reducing the inventory. This also facilitates the process of documentation and ultimately reduce the inventory. See one example here. So, let us see the how this standardization can help. Suppose you are dealing with the at present you are dealing with 4 items, item 1, 2, 3, 4, and each is having a demand of 1000, 1000, 1000 and 1000. Okay. Now, with one particular standardization practice, all these items are converted as one item, item A, and the demand of this item is 4000 units. Now, let us see this we can say case X and this we can say take case Y. In case of X, our total cost will be given by this formula. This will be 2 into 1000. Let us say cost of ordering is same and cost of carrying inventory is same, under the root this plus same times 4 times this is repeated, okay, and 4 times this is repeated, and let us take this 10,000 for the sake of convenience, and this is 40,000. So, this cost will be 400 into 2 into CO into CI in case of option X. Now, in case of option Y, how much is going to be this? Let us do the different color. In case of option Y, this total cost will be equal to 2 into 4000 into CO into CI. So, this will be 40,000. We have taken 40,000. So, this will be 200 into 2 into CO into CI. So, what you are observing, if 4 items are standardized as one item, the total cost of keeping those item will reduce to half. The total cost will reduce to from 400 to 200. In general, if 10 items are if 9 items are reduced to 1, it is a component of root n. Your cost will reduce by 1/3. Your cost will reduce to 1/3. If there are 9 such items and they has been standardized to 1 item, your inventory carrying cost will reduce from 9 to 3. So, there is a 1/3 improvement, the cost will reduce to 1/3. So, the improvement is equivalent to under root of n. If n items are standardized as 1 item, then your cost will reduce to by under root of n. So, that is the kind of advantage of standardization. So, if we can apply the standardization, we can substantially reduce the inventory related cost. Now, let us see lead time management. Lead time is one of the important factor. We have seen that safety stock and also there are two aspects of lead time. One is because of the lead time, the uncertainty increases. More the lead time, more the uncertainty in the lead time. Second, because of the lead time, there may be you have to keep the high inventories also, the reorder point also there. So, based on that also you will have to keep more inventory. So, what are the reasons for high lead time? The lead time is the time between feeling the need for material, that means placing an order and receiving the actual material. It can be due to bad planning, there can be wrong specifications, you are having lot of queries also, or indent is not clear, you have given your requirement which is not understood by the purchase department. So, that can be one reason. Incomplete POs and too much centralization, improper incomplete negotiation, inadequate technical support, inadequate inspection testing, sources not known, inadequate legal knowledge, wrong estimation of requirement, wavering on choice of mode of transport, etc. So, these are some of the reasons which can be there. So, these are some of the various steps which are there when the need is felt to the specifications are drawn, approval by the relevant authority. And so, there may be a large lead time because of administrative reasons, because of the transportation also, or there may be a from the supplier side also there can be reason. Indent transfer to purchase department, rates terms are identified, acceptance by supplier, manufacturing of the item, follow up with the supplier, stage wise inspection, transport and like this. So, what need to be done? We have to identify new sources also, we can keep a data about various quotations also, and rate terms of contract negotiated and finalized. Then you are finding out the requisite number of purchase orders, material is received, invoice quantity checked, material inspected, accepted material used, rejected material sent back, check issued to the supplier and documents filed. So, this is the complete process of purchase. So, any process if it is taking more time, that will lead to higher lead time. So, we should see that it is a kind of a business process re-engineering. You can do the re-engineering of your purchase process, so that lead time can be reduced. Now, we can use the information technology, and these days we are talking Internet of Things or Industry 4.0, where we are taking the help of the cloud also to see the things, to have a better knowledge, better information about the processes, better information about the market. So, with the help of information technology and IT, I can have a better quality of forecast. I can track the inventory also in my warehouse or from my supplier also. I can see how much inventory is available at different retail outlets, in my warehouse also, and updating of the inventory records also. There may be many times problem, your inventory records are not accurate, the inventory records are showing the material, whereas physically the item is not available, because inventory records are not updated. You have issued the material, but records are not updated. With the help of IT, you can very easily capture these transactions without any error. Then there is a you can apply with the help of this the lead time reduction also, by better control the processes can happen in a real time on a paperless manner also, and then coordination with buyer for collaborative. This CPFR stands for collaborative planning, forecasting and replenishment. And there is a vendor managed inventory we can apply, we are discussing that also, vendor managed inventory. Okay. Like we were discussing earlier also, single period this. Suppose this is the time when you need a material and this is the time when you are placing the order. If this time is more, this lead time is more, you will find higher the uncertainty, and whatever decision you are taking, you will find either you are overstocking or you are understocking. On the other hand, if you take the decision close to this, with the help of information technology, you will get a better idea how many persons are coming, or you will have a now more consolidation of the requirement. The lead time is reduced and you can have a better idea about your demand. So, the decision if you are taking close to the need, the decision will be better as compared to if you are the time between decision and requirement is more. That same is true for the fashion items also. If the summer season is coming in India, let us say it comes in April, but you have to plan this garment and fabrics for April requirement in the month of December itself. The designing and manufacturing and procurement of fabric starts much earlier in December, and you will find that there may happen that by the time you are bringing the material into a market, there may be change in the requirements or there may be change in the fashion also. So, that for those items we have to see that we have to be very careful that all the decision may not be taken in December, some decision may be taken close to the point of sales and usage. Let us come to the vendor managed inventory. This is very important these days, you will find in all your hyper markets or malls etcetera. You will find this vendor managed inventory is very popular there. There may be once let us first read this. Vendor managed inventory is a business model where the buyer of a product provides information to a vendor of that product, and the vendor takes full responsibility for maintaining an agreed inventory level. So, you need not to place the order to the vendor, vendor will have a watch at your inventory level and it is his responsibility to replenish it. So, he is responsible for providing the inventory at the buyer's consumption point. Now, hyper malls where material is kept in the shelves. So, vendor will take the responsibility of replenishing it. You are saying that this is the place, this is the rack given to you and you can keep your item, but the maximum item which you can keep is the capacity of this shelf, but ensure that it should not go below a certain level. So, he will keep a watch not in a physical manner, in a digital manner with the help of point of sale information. Your cash register is connected to his planning department or replenishment department. So, based on that he will take a call when to replenish the material. And he may have such maybe 100 such malls in a city. In a single city he may have 100 such location where his material is kept, and if he is having the data information about how much is the stock. So, one single consignment of this and it can go and replenish all the 100 locations in one single go. So, that way the transportation cost is reduced and inventory related cost is also reduced, and he is in a better position, vendor is in a better position to do the production planning. Otherwise, it may happen that all these 100 vendors may place the order together, and then this fellow may has to work on a overtime and it will increase the cost of production for him, or there may be small quantities orders are coming from different vendors and he has to send the individual consignment to each of them, increasing the transportation cost. So, VMI makes it less likely that business will be unintentionally become out of stock of a good and reduce inventory related in the supply chain. One of the benefit of VMI is that the vendor is responsible for supplying the customer when the item is needed. That leads to removal of the safety stock. Now, you need not to keep the safety stock, lower the inventory levels also, and reduction in the purchasing related administrative cost also. So, very good technique this practice which is now followed by many organizations. This oil companies, big oil companies are also doing that with respect to lubricating oil, which is required by the manufacturing organizations with automobile companies and other. So, what they do? The OEMs or the manufacturing organization give them a space, and these oil companies are keeping their lubricant there, and you pay to them only when it is consumed. Here also the mall owner is paying to the vendor when the item is sold. So, that way this works as a very good system which helps in reducing the inventories in the system. So, advantage from the buyer firm perspective, supplier track the inventory, determines delivery schedules and order quantities, buyer can take ownership at the stocking location also. So, whole inventory is owned by the buyer. From the supplier perspective, sorry here. So, here most of the time the ownership, because vendor is managing, most of the time ownership is also of the vendor, but if it is if there is a case, buyer can also take the responsibility or ownership of the stocking location. From the supplier perspective, it avoids the ill advised customer orders. Supplier decides the inventory setup and shipment, opportunities for supplier to educate the customer about other products also. It also happens, VMI also happen, that like I have said that you are having 100 stores in a city. If you are finding at a particular store, that particular item is not getting sold. So, rather than this store selling this item at a discount, you can shift this item from this store to some other store where the demand is high. So, because it is your inventory, you have the ownership, the supplier has the ownership, he can shift the material from one store to another where the demand is high. Let us see one Kraljic matrix for the purpose of purchasing. We can divide this item into 4 quadrants based on 2 parameters, that is profit impact, what is the impact of that particular item which you are purchasing, what is its impact on the profit, and also what is the supply risk. That means, what is the situation of demand and supply. If the demand is more than the supply, that means there is a risk. On the other hand, if there is abundant supply, that means there is very less risk. So, profit impact is because of the volume purchased, because of the percentage of the total A class item, or impact of the product quality on business growth, also critical item. Supply risk is because of the availability, number of suppliers, competitive demands, and there may be storage risk also, or there can be a substitution opportunities also. So, based on that, we can divide our items into 4 quadrants based on the profit impact and supply risk. Quadrant 1 or A, these are non critical item, profit impact is also low and there is no supply risk also. So, these items we can simply automate. Let this will be done by the computer. Based on that computer, we can place the order, or a lower level employee in the organization can do this routine type of ordering. Not much efforts are required at the senior level. Let us see the second cell where the profit impact is high, but there is no supply risk. That means, there is large number of suppliers available, but item is very important because it is A class item. So, here you can exploit your purchasing power, because the supplier has less bargaining power, you have a more bargaining power, because there are many suppliers who are available, supply risk is low, many suppliers are available to supply this. So, you can exploit the purchasing power and try to minimize the cost in this particular case. Then there is a third category C, where the profit impact is less, but supply risk is more. That means, there are less number of suppliers are there. So, here our main task of the purchasing is to ensure that adequate supply is available, there should not be any shortage of the material. And this is the 4th quadrant, which is very important from the inventory perspective, from the supply perspective, where the profit impact is also very high and supply risk is also very high. So, we have to, here we can form the partnerships and we can have long term agreements with them, long term relationship with them. So, that both you have to ensure there should not be any shortage of the material, at the same time you have to work with the vendor to improve the supplies, to reduce the cost of these items, because these are A class items, a small improvement in that will lead to substantial benefits. Many times we are having different strategies with respect to our manufacturing. We may have a low cost manufacturing strategy, we may have quick response manufacturing strategy, or we may have where we are differentiating our products from the other competitors. So, in that case the supplier goal is supply demand at the lowest possible cost. Response is respond quickly to changing. We need a vendor or supplier who can respond quickly to changing requirement and demands to minimize the stock out. In case of differentiation, we need a vendor who can involve and share the market research also with us and develop jointly with us. With respect to inventory, if we look at that, here if your idea is to have the minimum cost, I should work for minimum inventory throughout the supply chain, right from the supplier to the customer. If idea is to have a low cost supply chain, so I can reduce the inventory, minimize the inventory. Whereas in case of response, where I want a very quick response to the market requirement, I can develop a responsive system with buffer stocks positioned to ensure the supply. I should position the buffer stocks at strategic position, so that I can respond to the requirements of the market very fast. Whereas, if it is a case of differentiation, where you are developing the new products very fast, you can minimize the inventory in the chain to avoid the obsolescence. Maybe you are keeping the parts or raw material ready, so that when even if there is a change in design or something, you can supply it, but you try to keep minimum inventory of the product, because you are always in a mode of developing new products, and so you have to avoid the products becoming obsolete or raw material becoming obsolete. So, in that case we have to keep minimum. So, this is the kind of inventory strategy we can follow for different types of our corporate strategy or business strategy or marketing strategy. Very interesting aspects. These days you are finding that we are creating large variety. Customer is looking for large variety different products, or maybe a case of customization also, where customer want a item to be designed or manufactured as per his specification. We have seen that case of Dell computers, very famous, where you can give your specifications, you can pick up your, you can design your own configuration, and supplier will supply you within 1 week or 15 days. So, how that can be achieved? This is possible where by which we can, if we can study the value chain, if we can study the value curve of an item. On a value curve, how the value is added in the manufacturing of a product, how the cost is built up in the manufacturing of a product with time. So, this is the shape of the value addition curve. And in a traditional way, let us say manufacturing of cars or manufacturing of any item, you have steel, metal, component, machining parts, etcetera, and then you are doing the welding also. After that, you are differentiating it into different colors, and then you are taking it to the retail outlet. So, this is the place of retail outlet, and this is where the customer is coming, and some accessories are added, very less value addition is carried out at after the retail outlet. So, customer is entering at this point, customer entry point is at your retail outlet, and you are doing the differentiation here. Now, here the risk is, suppose you are manufacturing 3 colors of a car, red, blue and green, and you have decided to manufacture 100 of each at this place. But when it comes to the customer, you may find there is a demand of more of red color and less of blue color and like this, but you cannot do anything at this particular place. So, but if for a product, if you are doing the differentiation, if you are able to do some differentiation after arrival of the customer, if I shift the point of differentiation point A to point B, then you will find that you are producing 300 components here and keeping it as of one type. You are keeping the 300 components of one type here, and depending upon the requirement, you are converting them into red, blue and green, or depending upon that you can converting. Just like a case of printers also, what the companies are doing, the printers are manufactured at one place and sent to different countries, and the operating manual and certain other power code etcetera, or power supply you have to set as per the requirement of the country. So, what you do is you manufacture the standard product up to this place, and when you are dispatched to a particular country, you can do those power supply, manual, etc., in that particular local language, etc. So, the differentiation can be done after customer order is received. By doing that, you can substantially reduce the inventory and you can substantially reduce the risk of overstocking and understocking. So, that is the idea here. Recently, we have seen this phenomena with respect to paints also. 20 years back, the paint which is required for painting, etc., we were having a hardware shop which were keeping all the colors in the packing of 50 ml to 100 ml, 200 ml, 500 ml, 1 liter, 5 liter and 20 liter basket also, bucket also. So, in that case different shades you are keeping, and there may be a case that person has come to purchase a 200 ml, but you do not have 200 ml packing, you are having either 50 ml packing or you are having a 1 liter packing. So, either he has to purchase 4 packings or he may have to purchase extra material also. But now, we are able to differentiate at the point of usage. Now, rather than keeping this all the colors in the packed condition, you are having a dispensing unit, mixing unit, and where you are keeping white color paint, and then there is a tint are there, computerized machine is there, and by adding those 3 tints you can create the shade whatsoever you want and the quantity which you want, and then there is a shade card you are having. Now, the painter is coming with the shade card and is telling you, you select the shade card, the same number is fed into the machine, and whatsoever quantity you want, it can be dispensed without any extra cost. So, that is the advantage of this vendor managed this point of differentiation. If we can shift the point of differentiation after the customer ordering point, it helps substantially reducing the inventory. This is kind of a variety reduction. Rather than keeping a variety of all the product as a finished goods, this is a case of variety reduction. Rather than keeping all these inventories as a separate item, you are keeping only one item as a white color paint, and then with the help of these 3 tints, small shades, you are able to create the right kind of a color which is required. So, it is a very good if we can shift or if we can shift the point of differentiation after the customer entry point, that will substantially reduce the inventory in the value chain. So, friends, we have seen that several we have seen this inventory management from 2 different perspectives. One is for a given environment, we find the optimal order quantity, the best order quantity for the given external environment with respect to ordering cost, with respect to inventory carrying cost, with respect to uncertainty in demand, and with respect to uncertainty in lead time and other scenarios, we determine the economic order quantity. We also had a discussion on a proactive approach also, how we can reduce the requirement of the inventory itself by addressing the issues related to management of that particular system. By doing that, that is having a long impact also, rather than every time paying the inventory carrying cost. If we can reduce this cost, we can do the improvement in our processes, that has a long term impact also, and every time you will save on the inventory cost. Further, you will find that if you see that in the era when the variety was very less, we were having only one type of a car, one model of a car, very few varieties of pen and everything, and I am talking about of 1980s and 1990s. There was hardly any variety of the products available. In that scenario, inventory related policies were very good. Traditional policy or inventory keeping inventory was okay. But when we are talking about now in 2020s, where the variety is very large and new product introduction is also very fast, in that environment it is not possible to respond through the inventory. In this case, we have to respond through the processes. I have to keep my processes flexible, I have to keep my processes very agile, I have to keep my processes integrated and coordinated. So, that rather than keeping the inventory to respond to the requirements respond by keeping inventory when the variety is less, but as the variety increases you have to respond by through the processes. You have to make your processes flexible, you have to make your vendors flexible, you have to make your transportation system as flexible, so that you are able to respond to the requirements in a very through the processes rather than keeping inventory. If you are producing 100 different models of car, if any company nowadays they are producing 100 different types of cars in terms of color, shade, in terms of various models, and within model also there are variants, high end models, low end models, and if you want to keep all these in your stock, the cost of carrying inventory may be very, very high. So, rather than keeping the inventory high, you make your manufacturing processes very agile with the help of modular design, so that you are keeping the sub assemblies ready rather than keeping the final product ready. You keep the sub assemblies ready and assemble them as per the requirement of the customer. Just like Dell laptop people were doing, they are keeping the motherboard ready, they are keeping the disk ready, they are keeping the RAM ready, they are keeping the other components ready. Depending upon the composition given by the customer, you assemble them according to his specification and deliver to it in a very short period of time. By that you are able to reduce the inventory of the finished products. You are doing it is a more like a make to order kind of a production system. You are making them only after receiving the order. So, all inventory related cost of finished goods can be eliminated in this particular manner, but that is possible only if your processes are very flexible and you are able to respond to the requirement of the customer within 5 minutes or within 5 days or within 15 days, and that way then only this system of make to order is going to work. So, with this discussion we are closing this unit of inventory management. Here in this unit we have studied the importance of inventory management. If inventory is not there, it has its own repercussions in terms of disruptions in our supply. If the inventory is high, it has the implication of high cost of providing services to the customer. One of the important reason for the success of the Japanese companies is they have developed the just in time manufacturing system. They work towards I am saying towards zero inventory. They work towards zero inventory. They try to see that all factors which are forcing them to keep inventory, that should be eliminated, and this is the reason that they are able to succeed in beating very big brands of US in case of automobile. They are able to sell their product in a very competitive manner in US market at a very reduced cost with the help of keeping low inventory. So, we will study this JIT manufacturing system in our next session. So, with this we close this particular session. Thank you so much.